A finance graduate in London once walked out of her master's degree holding £80,000 worth of student debt. She had studied day and night for 2 years, believing the promise that a postgraduate degree would fast-track her into a prestigious career in banking. When the job offer finally came, it was for just £45,000 a year, barely enough to chip away at her loan. Now here's the uncomfortable part. Another graduate, same city, same age, chose a different route. He skipped the MBA, didn't pile up the debt, and instead invested less than £3,000 into the CFA program. 2 years later, he wasn't fighting for an entry-level role. He was working in asset management, pulling in 6 figures, and negotiating opportunities across borders. Brutal truth? The CFA has the power to open doors that many MBAs can't, but only if you can survive its ruthless grind. And that's where the curiosity begins. What is this CFA program really about? Why is it so respected? And why do professionals across London, New York, Dubai, Singapore, and Frankfurt put their lives on hold just to chase these 3 letters? To answer that, let's roll back to 1962. That's when the CFA Institute was born, a professional body designed to set the absolute gold standard for investment management. But this isn't just another finance qualification. The CFA is a passport. It's the signal to Wall Street analysts, hedge fund managers, sovereign wealth funds, and private equity strategists that you speak their language. That you're trained to think the way the global markets demand. If you want to sit at the table where billion-dollar deals are negotiated and long-term portfolios are designed, the CFA is the credential that earns you the chair. Now, many of you might be thinking, is this really different from an MBA or other finance certifications? Here's the blunt truth. An MBA is powerful, yes, but it's expensive, often limited by geography, and heavy on networking rather than technical expertise. Accounting. Qualifications like ACCA or CPA. Fantastic for those who want to be auditors or controllers, but they don't signal investment mastery. The CFA, on the other hand, is universal. It's one of the few credentials that carries weight in 170 countries, from the City of London to Wall Street to the financial hubs of Asia and the Middle East. And unlike an MBA that can cost upwards of £100,000 or $150,000 in the US, the CFA program will set you back less than a semester of business school tuition. Yet here's the myth-busting part. CFA isn't just for investment bankers. It's not just about trading stocks. It covers equity research, corporate finance, risk management, ESG investing, derivatives, and even fintech-driven portfolio analytics. But let's break this down further, because the CFA program isn't just one exam. It's a journey, and it's brutal. 3 levels, each designed to filter out the dreamers and leave only the relentless. Level 1 is the foundation. Think of it as financial bootcamp. You're thrown into 10 topic areas: quantitative methods, economics, corporate finance, financial reporting and analysis, fixed income, derivatives, ethics, portfolio management, and more. Imagine this. One moment you're wrestling with accounting standards under IFRS and GAAP, and the next, you're calculating the intrinsic value of Tesla's stock using discounted cash flow models. That's level 1. It's broad, it's fast, and it's overwhelming. And the pass rate? Historically around 40%, which means more than half of the candidates walk out defeated, despite having spent 300 hours preparing. But for those who survive level 1, the real grind begins, level 2. This is where the CFA stops testing your memory and starts testing your ability to think like an analyst. Instead of simple multiple-choice questions, you're thrown into complex vignettes, mini case studies where you're asked to dissect a portfolio, evaluate risk, and interpret financial statements with the precision of a Wall Street equity analyst. Picture this. You're given a case about a multinational company with cross-border revenues, fluctuating FX exposure, and a leveraged balance sheet. Your job? Value it correctly, assess the risks, and recommend a strategy. There's no guesswork here. Either you know it, or you don't. This is where CFA candidates often realize that the exam isn't about being smart, it's about endurance. Pass rate? About 45%. And then comes level 3, the final mountain. But here, the focus shifts. If level 2 is about analysis, level 3 is about decisions. You're trained to think like a portfolio manager. You'll be asked, how would you design an investment strategy for a high net worth individual with low risk tolerance? How would you manage a pension fund's liabilities over decades? How do you balance ESG concerns with shareholder value? This is the stage where you stop thinking like a student and start thinking like someone responsible for billions in assets. And yet, even here, only about half make it through. Out of 250,000 candidates worldwide, less than 20% ever complete all three levels. Let me paint a picture of what this commitment looks like. Imagine working at an investment bank in New York. You're already doing 70-hour weeks. You get home exhausted, but instead of collapsing into bed, you pull out your CFA books and grind for 3 more hours. Your weekends aren't about brunches and golf. They're about practice questions and mock exams. For 9 months straight, you live this double life. I know one candidate who used to wake up at 4:30 a.m. every day, study until 7, then commute to his job in London. He had a newborn at home, but he said, if I didn't sacrifice those hours, I knew I'd never escape the middle rung of finance. That's what the CFA demands. 300 hours per level, essentially a part-time MBA stacked on top of your full-time job. And the costs? Around $900 to $1,200 per exam, plus materials. Add it up, and you're looking at under $5 for the entire journey versus 6 figures for a top MBA. But don't mistake affordability for ease. The CFA program is one of the toughest professional gauntlets in the world. So why do people put themselves through it? Because the payoff is massive. Let's talk about opportunities. CFA charter holders are everywhere, 170 countries, working in equity research, portfolio management, investment banking, wealth management, ESG finance, and fintech. In Dubai, I met an accountant who pivoted into asset management through CFA. In Singapore, a mid-level banker used CFA to break into risk analysis for a sovereign wealth fund. In London, a young woman who once thought her career ceiling was auditing now manages portfolios for ultra-high net worth clients, all because of the CFA. And the salary outcomes? According to multiple reports, CFA charter holders earn on average 50–60% more than their non-charter holder peers in similar roles. It's not a guarantee, but it's a consistent signal. The market values the designation. One charter holder in New York told me bluntly, my CFA was worth more than my Ivy League degree when it came to getting interviews. Another in Frankfurt said, without the CFA, I would have been stuck in accounting. With it, I jumped into equity research. Now let's address the elephant in the room, CFA versus MBA versus other qualifications. An MBA is great if you need a network, if you want exposure to general management, or if you have £100,000 to burn. But here's the problem. MBAs don't always translate across borders. An MBA from a second-tier school in the US might not mean much in London or Hong Kong. The CFA, on the other hand, is universal. Whether you're in Toronto, Sydney, or Zurich, those 3 letters carry the same weight. Accounting qualifications like CPA or ACCA are brilliant for people who want to master financial reporting. But CFA goes beyond reporting. It dives into valuation, risk, and portfolio construction. Think of it this way, an MBA can get you into the boardroom. CFA gets you hired to run the money. And here's the brutal conclusion. If you're serious about a career in finance, skipping CFA is like being a programmer who doesn't know Python. You can survive, but you'll always be limited. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are you ready to put your life on hold for it? Are you ready to sacrifice weekends, mornings, and social life for the next few years? Because if you are, the CFA can change everything. And that's exactly what we do here at CFA by Education Bench. We don't sugarcoat it, we don't sell fantasies, we give you blunt truths, strategies, and real-world finance stories that prepare you for the reality of this journey. If this gave you clarity, hit that subscribe button, because the CFA is not just an exam, it's a war of endurance. And we'll make sure